Hello beautiful soul, and welcome to Manifest with me, Rebecca G. I'm your manifestation, meditation and mindset coach who blends equal measures of soul, strategy and a little sprinkle of science on the side. Consider me your modern day pink witch with my spiritual toolbox packed full of ideas to energize and inspire you and to put the action into the law of attraction. Let this podcast be your weekly fix because, my beautiful soul, it is time to turn your vision board into a reality. All right. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to today's podcast, Manifest with me, Rebecca G. I am pumped to have this legend on my podcast today. Alexandria Maria is an absolute powerhouse in business, and she's a manifestation coach who I've been following for a long, long time. And if you haven't followed her Instagram, it will be in the show notes. She helps high-level leaders, trailblazers, people who want to kind of unlock that limiting potential within themselves. And she has got such an incredible track record of helping people kind of transform from that six-figure years to six-figure months and even six-figure weeks. If you watch her Instagram, you'll see these success stories popping, and she's a force to be reckoned with, this woman. So I'm going to introduce her now. Hello and welcome.
Hello. Oh my God. Can you just hype me up every morning? Like, I feel like if you just sent me a WhatsApp saying that every morning, I'd be like, right, I'm good to go. I'm good to go.
And you're even going to love the name of her podcast. It's called Soul. Well, my membership group is called Sacred Souls. And when I saw the name of your podcast, Soul Yes, I was like, yes, love that.
I love it. I love it.
We want to know the juice. We want to know you from little girl up to now, your journey into motherhood and manifesting and all the fabulous things you've got in your business. Tell us everything about you. I want to know all the juice. I'm going to shut up.
Ooh. Okay, so I think I always had like a witchy streak because I remember telling my brother-in-law this and he pissed himself. But I remember being on the lawn as a kid and, you know, like the garden brooms. I was legit on the broom thinking, if I just like believe this hard enough, I can fly. I was that kid. I was literally that kid. So I now look back and I'm like, there was definitely some like witchy vibes going on. Like I knew something about the whole beliefs manifestation without knowing it. But then I definitely did a very like traditional route, I would say, in that I began to believe that how I performed academically was a precursor for how successful I'd be in my life. So I pushed myself really, really hard academically, studied hard, got good grades, did my A-levels, went to university, went and got a master's, like really thought I was on this like track for quote unquote success and therefore happiness. And I reached a point where I'm in my swanky new graduate job. I've had 5 companies saying they want to work with me. I've got my business masters, done all the things. Well, I am fucking miserable. Like on the outside looking in, I probably look pretty happy. And like, don't get me wrong, there were some awesome people. I was going for nice lunches. I was drinking lots, red flag. I was actually really miserable. And I just had this thought of like, oh my God, this is the next 40 years of my life. Because I'm like 25 at this point, you know, realistically, it probably is the next 35 to 40 years minimum. And I'm like, I cannot do this for the next 40 years of my life. So I think this thought had like slowly been there, but I was pushing it away, got the train. My parents, I'm from Manchester originally. I'm living in London at this point. I get the train to my parents in Manchester for the weekend, getting the train back down to London. It's a Sunday. And I start to cry on the train. And I'm like, oh, Sunday scaries. Like, it's cool, except this time I'm on a train crying and I can't stop. But, you know, we move. It's fine. Monday comes, I'm still crying. Cannot stop crying. I'm like, okay, this is weird, but like, I just need a day. I'm going to pull a sickie. And then by Tuesday, I will get my shit together and I'm going to get back into work. Tuesday comes and I'm like, I can't. I physically cannot get myself in that suit and out that door. Like I can't do it. I've never had that before in my life. I always push through. Could not push through this time. And I think it was an accumulation of all those years of ignoring myself, ignoring my intuition, ignoring that inner voice, pushing. And I just burst. I feel like I burst at the seams. It was too much. And all of a sudden, everything just went splat. And it was like, we can't do this anymore. So I go to the doctor. I'm like, hey, can't stop crying and can't get myself into work. Not sure where we're going to go from here with this conversation, but this is where I'm at. And they sign me off work. They're like, you're too stressed. too much is going on for you mentally. You need to be signed off work for the next 2 weeks. And I am mortified beyond belief. I'm so embarrassed. I'm like, fuck, like I've always held it together. Everyone's going to know now. Like I can't hide this. I have to tell my employer. I can't, I'm like legally bound not to work. So I've just like literally gone off the radar now for 2 weeks. I was mortified, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I had to go and lie in my room for 2 weeks. All my friends are at the office. So it's not like I'm like, meeting friends for lunch and having a social. No, I'm literally lying in the four walls of my bedroom for 2 weeks, thinking, what am I doing with my life? And I realized I didn't love anything that I'd created in my life, bar my partner and maybe my friends. But like the whole architecture of my life that I created was not for me. It was based on what I'd been told, what society tells us to do. And from there, I literally tore my life apart and I rebuilt it brick by brick. I quit my job.
Thank God it happened then, because you've had kids, you've had a child now. So imagine that happened now, like later on down the line. Right time for you, didn't it?
I totally believe that. And I don't doubt there's probably someone listening who's like, oh my God, I'm having my dark night of the soul and I have kids, because I feel like kids is such an identity loss as well. Or I don't want to use the word loss. Like I actually think it's a refining of yourself, probably a more authentic version of yourself. But I think it can feel like at the time an identity loss. So like I feel like if you are listening to this and you're like, oh my God, I'm screwed. Like this is happening to me when I have kids. I think you just gotta lean in.
Because that's when mine happened, actually, when I had my son.
Really?
I was like, am I postnatal? Like I was doing a network marketing business, which was not aligned for me. I was doing loads of things. I got my clinic that I run. And then I was just like, who the fuck am I? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And actually, it was that time where I like nothing authentic, nothing that was aligned with me. It couldn't sit with me anymore. I was like, no. And probably like you, that's what it is. There's just this level of truth inside your soul that's like, no, fuck off. No, I've had enough. So what
Oh my
happened?
God, this is so accurate. I'm so fascinated this happened when you had just like, I do think it happens for a lot of women when they have, because I think it is that thing. I think it's a capacity piece. You don't have the capacity anymore I think you have excess capacity. And I'm sure there are circumstances where this isn't true. And I didn't believe this was necessarily true before I had a baby, but like there is a little bit of excess capacity there. Whereas that disappears. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, I actually can't put energy on things that don't feel right.
You've got nothing in the tank when you've got a
Yeah.
kid. Okay, I've only got stuff in the tank for what's aligned. And anything,
Mm-hmm.
customers, clients, people just fell away, friends, everything. It all changes. And I think when I look back now, probably like you do, you're like, I am so glad that happened. Like I'm so glad I'm now the person under Rebecca and the Alexandra that I am now. But like looking back, it was so painful and so traumatic to go through. Like they call it spiritual awakening, don't they, or a spiritual shift? And I'm like, I'm still having those shifts now, I think, even through this weird time at the moment that's going on with the planets and stuff. I'm like, it's a
I'm
crazy.
so glad you said that. I'm still going through it now, and I think that's important to talk about because I the first time was so shocking, like so like what the fuck is happening?
What you said was that you didn't want to tell anybody, because I'm the person that's always had my own businesses, and I was a nurse, and I was like the happy one and the one that always looked after everyone. And then I was like,
Yeah,
and I don't want to ask for help because that's embarrassing. That's how I felt. So
yeah,
I think it's when you're a high flyer as well. You're a bit like you're supposed to have your shit together. Everybody knows you as the person that has their shit together, and that you should be happy because of all the money that you've got and all this that you've got. But actually, yeah, it's stripping it all back and going, actually, who am I?
But I think that's the danger. I feel like that's the harder you fall as well, because I feel like I fell so hard because for years I'd just been like, no, I got it together. I've got it together. And like I'd been on anti-anxiety medication, antidepressants, but I'd always kept it kind of on the down low, you know? I'd really kind of tried to, I took an overdose when I was 21, you know, like I had really gone to like the depths, and yet I'd kept it so quiet. I'd kept it so under wraps. And actually it was the crying on the train, which was the time where it was like, oh, I can't keep this under wraps anymore. Like I have burst at the seams. That actually was probably more life-changing than taking an overdose, which sounds crazy. That's normally someone's turning point. But for me, that was just another point of like, gotta hold it together a little bit more, you know, gotta keep this all in a bit more.
upsetting. You're so brave for you to talk about that so openly as well, because that's a huge thing and say, and thank God it didn't work and you're still here changing so. So what happened after that? So then you kind of had this like 2 weeks in bed, you lucky bitch.
Lying there, sheet mask. No, I'm joking.
I'm taking the piss. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I so literally, do you know what? It was so morbid because I do personally, looking back and laughing a little bit does help me. And I do have to look back and laugh a little bit because I look now and I'm like, God, 2 weeks in bed, like what I would do. But at the time, like, couldn't read a book, couldn't watch TV. I was literally in this like tunnel of like despair. And it was the best thing because I had this time. I was like, right, I need to pull out my entire life. And that's what I did. Do you know where I actually started? And I'm going to share this because I actually think it's such an important stage in manifestation as well. I actually started by clearing out my entire house.
Oh yes, we talk about this so much. Grounding out your home is just golden. What did you do? Like nick a drawer? Are we talking kitchen drawer, everything?
I am talking nick a drawer was Marie Kondo folded and still is to this day. Still is to this day. I went through every drawer in the house, every cupboard, every item. And I was like, does this bring me joy didn't really like spark for me as much, but it was the concept of, does this align to the life that I want to live? Does this support the life that I want to live? Does this like feel like an energetic like drain, or does this feel like something that like boosts me up? So yeah, I Marie Kondoed the whole house. And through this process, I also started to go out to events. So I was like, I heard this African proverb recently, and I have been harping on about it ever since because I think it's so incredible. It says, when you pray, move your feet. And in other words, when you manifest, take action, you know? So I started to go to all these events and try and just like genuinely uncover what I liked. I didn't even know what I liked. I was that far down the rabbit hole of doing what I thought was the right thing to do. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, what I enjoyed. I was like lost. So I started to go to all these events, and I was at an event which was like start your own food business. And I actually went there thinking, if I like this, I'll try and I love food. So I'll try and blag a job off someone in their company. That was my thought process. Like maybe this is, God loves a blagger sometimes. And back in the day, I wish I had the confidence of myself in my early 20s still sometimes. Like I would like,
I traveled around the world to Thailand, and now if I go to London on the Underground, I'm like, Kevin, come with me.
oh my God, this is me. I moved to Australia by myself. I traveled around Asia solo. And now if you try and get me on a tube, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about the tube.
I'm exactly the same. Like, Kev, I'd rather drive. I don't want to get on the train on my own. He's like, what? Come and meet me. Because he works in London. He's like, just come up and meet me. I'm like, no, I can't. I don't like it. He's like, Thailand and you lived in Australia on your own. I was like, I know, but I don't know what's happened.
Well, oh my God, you are literally me. I get this. I'm so with you on this. So I wish I had some of that, like, I don't know what it was.
That London is a fucking minefield because I can travel. I probably could travel to Thailand today on my own, but take me to the London Underground. I'm like, I'm gonna end up in Manchester if I get on that train.
To be fair, I do think it's linked to desire though, because if you said to me, how do you fancy a solo trip to Bali for a week? I'd be like, game, get me on that flight. But like, if you're like, how do you fancy being in someone's armpit for an hour? I'm like, not so much.
So true.
Desire is low.
Down the tube. I just since I've had Harley, I can't go anywhere like that with him. I'm like, what if there's a fire in there?
Oh God. Do you know what as well? Like, I know he's 4 now, so it's probably easier, but also the tube is so unfriendly when you have a freaking pram. I experienced it for the first time a few weeks ago, and it's a whole different ball game.
So sweaty as well because you've got all your gear, and you've got your layers of stuff, and then you've got all their stuff that you've got to carry, and then sometimes you have to get them out the buggy because they're just kicking off and they don't want to be in the buggy. They want mummy to carry them, and if you're on your own with a buggy in the bags, oh my God, it's so stressful.
Oh my God. And then you have everyone banging into you.
Oh,
no one gives a shit you're a mum on the London Underground. I tell you what, people have manners elsewhere. You get them on the tube, they're like, move out my way, bitch. I need to get to work. Like, the amount of people who were literally just like barging into me, and I'm like, I have a child, please be careful.
You need like a big sign around you, don't you? Like a big L plate sign or something. The big B.
Yeah.
Such a newborn baby. Oh, so we went off track, which was great because I love doing that with you. But where did you go after that? So you kind of trying to blag a job with the food people.
Trying to blag a job. God loves a blagger. I end up starting my own business. So I'm sat there listening to Pippa Murray, who started Pippa Nut, still such a great nut butter. And whilst I'm listening to her, I'm like, oh, well, she like bought back nut butter from this like unhealthy, unhealthy spread to healthy, nut butter's a health product now. And I was like, but what about jam? Peanut butter and jam, great combo. Jam is full of sugar. I could do for jam what she's done for peanut butter. I'm going to make chia seed jam. I'm going to call it jam.
Did you do it?
But it literally like landed in like 3 seconds flat. And you have to know this about me. Like sometimes if I like get an idea in my head, I will go after it.
Have you ever done your design?
I'm a projector.
You?
I know. So unprojector of me. Like, I think I just have to touch on this because I feel like a lot of projectors use it as an excuse to sit back too much.
Go. This is interesting.
Projectors, we can totally take action.
But in a different way. How do you guys take action?
I feel like we can take action by being like really well thought out with the energy that we're expending, using. So like if we've got 4 hours a day, you got to use them wisely. And also, can you like have the support of other human designs to help you move the idea along? So like, I definitely think, anyway, that was another.
A lot of people are into human design that listen to this. I'm not. I don't know much about it. I know my own, but I don't know other people's. I don't know much.
What are you?
Manifesting generator. So I have a million ideas running around my head, and my husband is like, nothing else. Just do this for now.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think Mani Gens and projectors actually present in the same way quite often because I'm the same. I'll always have a million and one ideas. And I love working with a Mani Gen. I feel like if you're a Mani Gen or a projector or a Mani Gen, like working together is such a beautiful combo.
My VA is a projector, and so is my social media manager. So that's probably why we work well together then. That's interesting hearing that.
Yeah, so she's kind of like an ops. She's like, I call her queen because she is literally like
amazing. She was so kind today. We've got to tell this story, by the way, and we'll come back to your cham. So when we book sessions like this with each other, there's those of you that are listening, we use Calendly to book the appointments. And Alexandria had to cancel last time because her baby was unwell and she was traveling, which is fine. I don't mind. And I kept seeing your Instagram thinking, I must message her and ask if we're going to reschedule and send her my diary. And then your lovely VA, what's her name?
Queen Vita
messaged this morning saying, just checking we're still on for today. And you have that like, oh, I haven't got anything in my. I never let people down. I was like, I haven't got anything in my diary, and I sent her like this, like all of my Calendly things. I was like, there's nothing on there for Alexandra. I'm so sorry. I don't think you booked. And she sent me, yes, it is. It's confirmed. And I'm like, oh my god, right. I need to make this happen. She's obviously booked. Got the grandparents sorted. And I said to the universe, because she sent me a message and said, if you need to cancel today, it's no problem. And when you have that split second of like, do I go back to the email and say, yeah, let's just cancel because this is a ball ache. I'm gonna have to get Kevin's parents over. Harley's got to get picked up earlier. I'm just going to make it in the nick of time after clinic. I was like, this is a rush. And then I was like, right, universe, show me a sign. I want to see the infinity symbol. And I haven't seen it all day until you just fucking put your wrist up and I saw it on your wrist. You've got the tattoo of the infinity symbol on your wrist. I was like, oh my fucking God. And I hadn't seen it all day. And I was like, I'm just going to go for it. Just going to make this happen. We just make shit happen, don't we? And I was like, we're going to do this. Grandparents could come over. No problem. They want to see Harley anyway. Grand.
I have shivers.
Talking, I was like,
I love this. And what's so weird, I know I shared this with you before we started recording, but like I almost cancelled. I sent a voice note to Queen Vita last night, and I was like, maybe it was like yesterday afternoon, and I was like, babe, like I'm really not feeling good. I'm on the outer edges of COVID at the moment, so I was like, I'm really still not feeling good. Like my voice is going. Like I'm not sure I can do these podcast recordings tomorrow. And then I looked in my diary last night at 7, 8, and I was like, do you know what? Like, I think by tomorrow I'm going to feel a bit better. And I recalled the message and I sent her a message being like, actually, scrap that. I'm all good. Let's go ahead. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. So we were meant to be here.
I've seen that symbol. I was like, all the way to nursery, like looking for an infinity symbol, like on people's cars and shit. It normally happens for me. And then I was like, all right, just relax. Maybe it's fine. Grandparents are coming. Forgot about it. And then I just saw you talking then. And I'm like, oh, it's that one. That is weird.
I love that. I literally love that.
The Cham story, because that's a fucking epic business idea, by the way. Did you ever do it? Did you roll it out?
Yeah, I did it. So I was like the nutty professor in my kitchen, like trying out 1,000,001 recipes. And then I'll keep this one brief, but basically I went like balls to the wall, and Deliciously Ella was, I think she still is huge, but like she was huge at the time. It was like really like the vegan era. And because God loves a trier, I pitched to delis and was like, hey, I have this amazing cham. And they were like, actually, we don't, they had like a maker's market at the time. They're like, we don't want you in the market, but come and see us because maybe we'll actually use you in the delis. So then I go for this meeting. They're like, yeah, this is fucking delicious. Like, let's stock the delis with it. We're going to use you in all our breakfast things. So I went from like harebrained idea in my kitchen to like making 100 jars a week in my kitchen because I'm stocking Deliciously Ella's delis, having to drop them off in an Uber because I am like, I'll say yes before I work out the back of it. I'm like, I've got this. I won't let them down. And it just kind of went from there. We got manufacturer, and then we were in Ocado and Holland and Barrett, or in Selfridges. Yeah, loads of cool places. Like, kind of went at it.
I'm so interested. I'm intrigued. What's happened now to Cham? Is it still around?
No. But do you know what? I saw a brand is doing something very similar in Holland and Barrett when I was recently back, and I was like, fair play to you guys. Like, I hope you kill it. Basically, I probably got a year and a half into this journey, and we were at a point where we were in enough stores and we needed to raise investment to go to the next level. Like, we had like Sainsbury's literally dropping into our DMs being like, can you stock us? But like the operations that go behind a product-based business like that, and even just like boring logistics side of things, but like cash flow and things like that, we would need to raise investment to really go where we want to go with it. And I was like finding myself writing pitch decks. I had meetings with investors because like a random guy came up to me in Selfridges and turned out to be this investor, and he was like, I want to invest, and like just doing all these things. And I was like, I don't like this. This actually isn't fun for me.
Don't make jam. I don't blame you. So how did you turn for? God, that must be so tempting though, to see the carrot right there in front of you and an opportunity to be swooped up by all these massive companies and people giving you like the green light. What made you just turn your back on it? What was it? Just you weren't in it?
I'd already done this once. I'd done it in my corporate career. I'd kept going at something that wasn't fully aligned, and I saw the impact of it on me. And this was starting to have the same thing. Like, I was losing the spark for it. I knew that in the background to this, I'm doing a year-long coaching qualification, redoing my yoga teacher training. I'm like, I want to be doing more of the spiritual stuff. I don't want to be sat in investor meetings doing pitch decks, like just was not feeling aligned for me. And I actually asked the universe for a sign. So we filmed Dragon's Den, and I said, look, if we're meant to do this, someone's going to invest. If we're not, they won't invest. And I had an even bigger sign than that from the universe. I did my pitch. I lost my freaking voice. Could not speak.
Spiritually, it's when they're just taking it from you. They're just your voice. Oh, how powerful is that?
And I have a whole thing around my throat chakra. I have a throat chakra tattoo here because like a huge part of like my spiritual awakening was finding my voice and like owning that, and it's linked to creativity, which not many people know. Like, we think of the throat as voice, but it's actually a lot to do with our creative energy as well. Like, so I'd had this reclaiming of my throat chakra, and then I lose my freaking voice.
You want to song? We're going to take your voice.
literally So that was my big sign. I had the conversation I had a partner at this point I was doing it with, and I had the conversation a week later. I was like, this isn't for me. I'm going to bow out.
And then you just took some time out again? What happened
then? I actually used the dregs of my credit card limit and flew myself to Bali for 2 weeks. As back in the day, pre-kids.
Get off anywhere. Oh,
yeah.
Those freedom days. If you're listening to this and you don't have children, just go and
please go do it. Read all the books, take all the courses, go on all the trips.
I went to Australia. I worked there as a nurse, and I did lots of traveling around Thailand and around Australia. I never made it to Bali. Is it as magical as everybody says? Like, is it like, it's a bit like kind of Ibiza, Glastonbury, when you go there, like, oh my God, it's such a vibe. You can't describe the words it's an energetic feeling. Is it like it there in Bali?
I'm going to caveat this. For me, yes. For me, it's like, whoa, it's like this mother energy, super creative, super expansive. Like, it's that beautiful combination for me of feeling expansive and yet feeling nurturing. So it feels like both. But So have you done your astrocartography before?
Never heard of it.
Right. You need to do this. This will blow your mind. There's an amazing woman called Alyssa Donato. She's on Instagram. She's sick at doing it. I had my astrocartography done, and basically, you know how we have like our horoscope chart? You can map that out on a map of the world to see like which places have like an energetic resonance for you, like which places are going to support you in different areas of your life. So for example, Asia, for me, I have a lot of like joy lines. So I feel very happy when I'm there, which I do. And Japan, one of my like happiest places. I also have this combination of 3 lines, and I can't remember what exactly they are, but like I can identify them on the map. And for me, when these 3 lines come together, it's going to be like an energy of transformation. So Bali has them for me. So does Miami, where I've lived. Like, so does Greece. I have Greek heritage. I spent a lot of time in Greece. All these places for me have this energy of transformation. So Bali for me definitely has that. But I just caveat it because I think for different people, it can be different places.
What's it like where you are now? Is it Texas you're in, did you say?
Yeah, so I'm in Austin in Texas. Texas has my like home line.
Oh, how interesting. Because you said earlier when we were chatting before we recorded, oh, it's nice to be home. I was like, oh, how
Mhm.
have that feeling about being home there. It's nice.
Yeah, so I feel at home here. Tulum has the same line for me as well. I feel really at home in Tulum. Like we spend a lot of the year there still as well, and like I just really, it was weird because it's like many of these things, like it was more a re-clarification of what I already felt. Whereas like when I was in Costa Rica, it didn't really work for me. And like energetically, you can then see on my chart, it doesn't.
Can feel that now. Like I live in the south of England, we live near Bournemouth, but there are certain
Yeah.
areas where Kevin's like, should we go there for a walk? And I'm like, oh no, I hate it there. And he's like, why do you hate it there? It's like a mile away from blah blah. And I'm like, it's just a feeling. I've got such an energetic connection with different places that I go. It's really bizarre. So that'd be
Yeah.
so cool to look that up and find that girl. That'd be really
Yeah. Highly recommend. I'm with you on that though. I get the same weird thing. Our poor husbands.
can't go there. Sorry, no, it's got bad energy. And then so after 2 weeks in Bali, and then is that where it ignited all your kind of interest? Well, you've always been manifesting, and you've always been little bit of a witchy side. But where did that ignite that fire in you to like? Because you're teaching it as well, like myself. When did that kind of start? That kind of journey of like, okay, I need to teach this shit. This is magical. And what sort of stuff?
Well,
were you like manifesting big shit into your life, and then we're like, oh, this is magical?
yeah. I mean, I'd been manifesting with Cham already. Like I had a vision board with the suppliers that as in like the stores that I wanted. And I had Sainsbury's on there and then dropping in my DMs, like I'd been doing a lot of the manifestation work around all of this already. I've been doing my coaching qualification in the background. And then I had this moment, I was like, I actually really want to be coaching. Like, this is what I need to go for. This is what where I need to move. And the big spark for this is actually freaking wild. So I had this Maldives retreat on my vision board. You got to remember at this point, I've got credit card debt, which to be fair, was a lot from trying to just pour any money I was earning back into the business, like keep feeding the business. But your gal's not flush, is what I'm saying. She's not Maldives money. And I had this Maldives retreat on my
Maldives. Most people are like Spain, Greece, they stay Europe. You're like Maldives retreat. I love it. Love it.
I don't fuck around. I will dream big. Even when the odds are stacked against me, I'm going to have a big dream and I'm going to go at it.
Sorry, carry on.
Got the Maldives on my vision board. And there was a retreat by Mel Wells. She did a manifestation retreat in the Maldives. And I was like, I want to get my ass on this retreat. And her email comes through, the price comes through, and I think you had to pay like a 50% deposit. I do not have the cash. I don't have the credit card limit left to pay this deposit. I shit you not. I get a check in the mail. I get a tax return.
Oh my God.
So I always thought the check in the mail stuff was bullshit, because I was like, honestly, who sends checks?
Yeah.
HMRC sends you checks.
I do.
So I got a tax return in the mail, and that paid the deposit for me. And then, so I signed up to this Maldives retreat. Well, like, in for a penny, in for a pound. Like I think it was more than deposit. I think it was like maybe like 3/4 of it would be paid by this check. Managed to manifest the rest of it and like get myself there. Go on this retreat in the Maldives with Mel. And like, I am manifesting a coaching business. I want to do this. That is the spark. And I'm like, from that week, I'm just like at it. I'm doing my lives. I'm on Instagram. I'm like, I've been doing this manifestation stuff and I want to share it with other people. Like I've manifested crazy stuff myself. I know how to do transformational life coaching. I'm going to do this beautiful blend. And yeah, I was just kind of off to the races from there. And now Mel's my best friend. So I was meant to be on that retreat.
Oh, because I saw on your Instagram today that you were sat together. I think you were staying.
Yeah, we're building houses next door to each other.
Oh, oh, that's so sweet. I love her. I love that girl because she knows a friend of mine called Kim, who I was in a network marketing business company with. She was a good friend.
Kim Mella.
Yeah. I think they went to school. I think they did modeling or something together when they were younger. But yeah, they're really good friends, aren't they? So
I'm like Instagram friends with Kim. You know those Instagram friends you have where you're always like,
oh, she came to my wedding. She's a lush. She's been on a big journey as well, bless her. She's another one that had a big awakening and was like, what the hell am I doing in my life? And went to Bali. These lovely girls.
no.
Lucky to go there.
No, I was just going to say, I feel like there's been an energy recently of like reawakening and shifting. Because I've seen so many people on their Instagram shifting.
You read the book, and if you haven't, you've got to start reading it, by Diana Cooper. She's my favorite author in the world, but her book recently, The Golden Era or The Golden Generation, like it's all about shifting into the 5D dimension. And everything I'm reading in this book, it's like she's saying there's going to be more disasters and more things happening and more big companies collapsing and more people moving into the spiritual space. But like these ascension symptoms that we're all going through at the moment, I did a podcast on it today. I recorded it today. It'll probably go out before this one. About the ascension symptoms of us just feeling out of body, like literally having growing pains. Like it's fascinating when you read this book and you're like, shit, that is so me over the last few years, what's been happening, and how your child and my child are going to be really different. They're going to be much more spiritual than any kids we've ever seen before. And you'll probably see, how old's your baby now?
6 months.
You ever catch him looking at stuff?
I've been watching out for this because I'm like, is he speaking to spirit? Classic.
And then they get to an age where they start talking about stuff and you're like, who told you that? And he was like, oh, it's Gary the ghost that comes and sits on my bed. It's the funniest.
Oh my God, I had shivers when you said that.
It's mad. He's like, this Gary the ghost has been teaching him the alphabet, but he's like, Mummy, he's been in my room for ages. And me and Kevin hear someone walking across our floorboards all the time upstairs. Like apparently I had a psychic reading and she said, oh, there is someone in your house. He goes and checks on Harley. Like he's like looking after him. I was like, that's so cute. That's so sweet.
I have full shivers.
No, but they are like, they're called the Starseed kids, I think it is, that she talks about. So they're the new generation of kids that are coming through now are really knowledgeable. Like they're learning really quickly. They're very into crystals and spiritual stuff. And even if you're not like spiritual yourself listening to this, your kids, your newborns probably will be. It's a new dimension of children coming through. It's bloody fascinating, her book, because you're reading it like, that makes so much sense.
I am going to listen to your podcast on this and I'm going to order that book. And I'm so with you on this because I'll be honest, like I used to find it slightly annoying when people are like, my kid's special, because I was like, they're all special. Like we can't do this. Like, come on, guys. And then you have a baby and you're like, oh, my baby's special. But like, he has these bright, me and Jake both have like hazily eyes. He has these bright blue eyes, and he is always smiling. And like he's like I had this thing in my head. I was like, I feel like he's here to spread joy. Like I'm not going to push it on him, but I feel like he's here to spread joy. We were in a shop at the weekend and this woman comes up to me and she's like, is he always smiling like that? And I was like, yeah, he's genuinely pretty happy. Like he cries when he's tired, he's hungry, he's a baby, but like he literally goes around smiling. She was like, I feel like he's just spreading joy to everyone here today. And I'm like, I genuinely feel like you're here to spread joy.
If you think that, have you ever heard this about your baby? This is like so amazing. So you'll notice this more and more as he gets older. But even like if you go out for a night or something and you're like, something isn't right with my baby, you just know. Or like if they're not well at nursery, or as they get even older than that, like you just know when they're not right. And there's a part, there's cells that are in your heart that are in theirs. So that when they're not feeling right, or they're emotional or upset, or that's why when they're in pain or crying, you feel it at the same time. It's almost like it's like a walkie-talkie talking to each other. I saw this doctor talking about it online. I was like, oh, that's so beautiful. Like they're always in your heart. And like, so you now saying that, I think he's here to spread joy. You're picking up on that in him. That's exactly what you're doing. That's what he's telling you through his heart.
Oh my God, do you know, I'd heard the heart cell thing, but I hadn't thought of it in that way in terms of like the actual emotional connection. That's so beautiful.
And I want to pick your brains on your retreats. So you've got one coming up. I'm gutted because is that Mexico you're going to be in? Is that what Tulum is? Geography's
I'm in
terrible.
Mexico next month. Yeah, Tulum next month.
Oh, on holiday for 2 weeks. I could have come to your bloody retreat. How annoying. Oh,
Do you know this has happened twice now? I've literally just I've obviously misheard some signs because November was the month I should have been there apparently, but I'm
yeah.
sure there's a reason there for in October as well. Yeah, we're in Tulum in October.
Go on, tell me about your
Sorry.
retreat. About anyone that's listening to this that wants to jet off on a credit card to Tulum. Oh,
I am not advocating that, by the way. I have taken some crazy leaps in my life, and I will own them.
I've started all my businesses on credit cards. Do it. What if you? I think if you've got a feeling about, genuinely, don't do it. If you're like your business is like, I don't know, fucking some shit business, don't do it. But anyway, tell us about your beautiful retreat. What's happening there? What's it all about?
Just on that quickly though, there is a guy in the world that sells doggy sunglasses. So if you think your business idea is shit, it might not be, because there's a guy out there who sells doggy sunglasses and he's rocking it.
4 dogs
For dogs.
Oh no! What?
For real. I always remember that whenever I'm like having a moment of doubt, I'm like, some man selling doggy sunglasses. We got this. Yeah, so the retreats we have in Tulum next month, we're actually running 2. One's a business focused one, one's a manifestation focused one. My approach to business really weaves in both anyway. We bring together like strategy and manifestation to create quantum leaps essentially in your results. So we're going to be running the business one first, and then we've got the radical realignment, which is much more manifestation focused. And the one next year as well in Mallorca is going to be manifestation focused. And I tend to try and take the women on a journey because I try and go through kind of the arc of manifestation. So I really feel like the first piece is really creating that clarity around what is it that we're moving towards. And what I noticed on a retreat, and I've had this experience myself, is you're much more honest with yourself. I think there's something about being away from your house, your partner, your kids, your friends, Tesco, just like all the things you're used to and all the things that allows you to be a lot more honest with yourself and be like, actually, like, if I'm being really honest, this is what I want, this is what I desire. So just really stripping away to that new level of honesty around what it is that you want. And then naturally, when you do that, a load of resistance comes through. You can't do this because of this. You're not capable of this. So then moving through the next part of the arc, we tend to clear the resistance, move through the resistance, work with the resistance, really go through that process. As we come out to the other side of it, that's when we start to move into things like action, declarations, really kind of putting it out there. This is what I want, and taking action towards it. And then the embodiment of trust and gratitude, because trust and gratitude are such powerful parts of the manifestation process. Trust because there's a delayed timeline often on our manifestations, or we need to go through some challenges in order to shape and refine us so we're ready to receive. And then the gratitude, because it's the most powerful force for manifestation, being in a state of gratitude. And also, I always put it this way, like, you're going to be happier where you are right now, whilst also moving towards what you want. That's so much better than being miserable where you are right now and trying to move towards what you want. It's not an either or.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. And that actually, for our listeners listening right now, you're someone who's like practices manifestation, probably like, if you're new to this, if you're someone that's tuning in today and you're brand new to the word manifestation or law of attraction and all this shizzle that we talk about, what would be your top tips for someone who's like, I've just landed on this podcast, or they've just landed on your page? What would you give them if you were to speak to someone now who's a brand new beginner? What would you have said to yourself back in the day, like learning the steps of manifestation? This is such an umbrella to it, but what's your kind of, do you like vibration? Is that good for you, or are you just like, fuck it, just say it and do it? Are you that kind of person, like, or are you like, have you got little tools in a toolbox? We call it a spiritual toolbox on this podcast. What do you pull from that? Like,
I'm going to give you like a really like simple answer, and then like kind of build on it a little bit. I have like a process of manifestation that we call the crystal codes. So each letter of crystal stands for a process. So we've got clarity, resistance, your ask, start, trust, acknowledge, and then love. So that's kind of like the process that you go through. I kind of just touched on it already, but I think if you were starting with that really, really simple, grab your notepad, grab a journal, whatever it might be, and just write down what you want. There is so much power in writing down your goals and being truthful with yourself. I literally posted something on Instagram yesterday, 2020 goals. Like I have notebooks filled with just me writing down, what is it that I want? What am I manifesting? What am I manifesting? I don't look at them again for years. And then I go back and I'm like, holy crap. Like I manifested that and so much more. So just like write down what it is that you want.
You ever look at them and you're like, this is like EastEnders reading my diary. Oh my God, like, why was I? I'm like manifesting, and then I'll start like, this is really pissing me off. And I'm like, look at it like, Jesus Christ, I can write a soap opera from this. I'm joking, go on.
You know what? No, because I'm Capricorn and I'm Virgo rising. So how sad is this? I have a manifestation journal and I have my like stream of consciousness journal.
So nice. I'm a Pisces. I'm like dreaming all over it, and then I'm like, this is it's all over the place.
My mum's a Pisces, I get it, and Leo's a Pisces as well. So like I'm totally like I've got a lot of Piscean energy around me. I get it. But yeah, like write them down basically. And then I think it is important to work with resistance, but I think you can walk with fear. I think you can sometimes get bogged down in the, oh my God, I've got a block, I've got a block, I've got a block. And then you create a story that you've got a block, and then you do actually create a block because you're constantly manifesting the block in. So I actually think one of the things you can do to almost just shortcut that is write a list of like 10 action steps towards whatever that goal would be, and just start doing one, because you'll naturally clear the resistance through action anyway. You'll build confidence through action. You will create literal evidence against those limiting beliefs through the action itself. So yeah, if you were just starting from scratch right now, write it down, write 10 steps that you can start to take towards it, and then take that step today.
And you're a mum now. Your little one's how old did you say? 6 months?
6 months.
So how do you find navigating, like, you're probably like me where you loved a morning ritual or evening rituals. Like I'm a real ritual kind of girl. I love my meditations and EFT tapping and grounding and crystals, or all sorts of stuff that we love doing to just judge ourselves up. What do you do now as a mum? Are you more relaxed about that, or are you like, I try and do this? Or what's your life like now as a mummy?
Do you know what? Honestly, it's hard. We have support. So we have a nanny who supports us. I'm forever grateful for her. And we have a great relationship with that as well, because I'm breastfeeding. So like I'm naturally every couple of hours spending some time with him. It's never going to be quite the same. I'm obviously still not sleeping either. So it's not like you're going into the day with your my 8 hours of sleep with my eye mask and my magnesium and all the rest of it. And on it, being completely honest, I'm still in process of finding like how I'm navigating as a mom. But what I'm noticing is like as each month goes by, I'm like micro building little bits back into my routine. So I think it's really important to nurture your human when you're manifesting. I think a lot of people focus on the spiritual side of it, which is important, but if your physical body is struggling, like that creates resistance. So little things like taking my supplements before I go to bed every night is a little ritual that to me feels like a manifestation, because I'm like, I am feeding myself and my body and I'm strengthening myself so that I am ready for tomorrow to go in with fresh energy. Having a diary by my desk and just taking 5 minutes to be like, what are my dreams? What are my priorities? What am I doing today? Like super, super simple, super, super short. I'll go for like a 10-15 minute walk, and I will stick on a walking meditation as I'm walking. When I'm getting ready, I'm listening to a podcast. Like little things like this, I'm just trying to build back in. And instead of it being my beautiful, gorgeous 90-minute morning ritual that I used to love, it's actually just these little things that are compounding. That's super powerful in itself.
And doesn't it teach you as a mother, you have to bend, you have to be flexible. You're doing this right now, and then the sleep regressions come in, and then they start teething, and you might not do anything for a couple of days. But actually, I think kids will teach you to be more flexible and not try to be so rigid with it, because I was so rigid with my routines before. But find that as your little one gets older, you'll just bend and you'll find new ways, and you already are. Like you're doing walking meditations, you're doing all this stuff, and bringing subliminals in the evening. That's the magic way of manifesting when you're sleeping.
I love that.
Yeah, subliminals. I'll send you some. I've got some on my app. I'll send you some. They're brilliant. The mummy's cheat way to manifesting is listen to subliminals while you're sleeping. But that's wonderful.
I didn't think of that.
They're like, I'll send you some. They're golden.
Also, when you're working, I could so have subliminals in the background when I'm working.
Music. It's the only thing on my own app that I can listen to, because I can't hear my own voice. I can't meditate to my own voice. It's weird.
Same. It's so annoying. We could do a meditation trade. I'll send you some so you can listen to me and I can listen to you, because I have the same thing. And it's annoying because apparently it's really powerful to reprogram your subconscious listening to your own voice, but I can't do it.
Oh, I listened to that. I heard someone on a podcast say that record yourself doing affirmations, which I do for my app, and they love it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't listen to my voice. It's like listening to your own, because my VA, and they get me to send snippets of my podcast. They're like, grab a screen grab and we'll stick it on your social media for you. And I'm like listening to my own voice. I'm like, ew, I really sound like that. It's bizarre, isn't it? Like hearing your own answer phone message voice, and I don't like it. Don't like it. So one thing here with every guest, we always ask you to project 5 years from now and imagine you back and I'm going to replay that podcast that Rebecca Green did, and you listen to it and you're like, oh, I remember saying that. What's the future looking like for you? So 5 years from now, little one's going to be 5, running around your feet.
I think this is my most favorite question I've ever been asked on a podcast ever.
Love it.
This is sick. Yes. Okay, I'm going to come back to this in 5 years.
Come back in 5. I'm going to remind you in 5 years. Listen to this, bitch. Listen to what you said, and it's come true. What is it?
Don't worry, my Capricorn's going to put this in the calendar right after this. I'm going to be like, listen to the 5 years. Okay, so in 5 years' time, I've written my book. We've got a book. We might have multiple books, but there's at least one fucking book out there. The book's out there. The podcast is flying. I'm reimagining it at the moment, and like it's going to be badass. Like we've got this amazing podcast. And I'm doing a lot with property. I'm really into like the property mood at the moment. So we're going to have our like house/retreat space in Tulum. I'm going to have our house/photography space in Bali. Houses in Austin. Like I'm going to have this little mini property empire. And I really want to own a Pilates studio. I'm going to own a Pilates studio as well. I'm really into this idea at the moment. I
think you need to have your book launch in Maui.
Oh, happily. I love this. I'm here for it. Book launch in Maui.
Literally, I love that story. That just like have a retreat in Maui. Like that is fucking awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Freaking love that. That's a great one. And I think in a broader sense, I really want to move into an energy where, and I feel like I'm definitely in this journey already, where like I'm just really being of service on a greater level. And I think that's why there's a focus on like the podcast and the book. I want more and more people to touch more people with this work and to see how powerful it is. And actually the clients that I work with, it's going to be very small, very intimate, which it already is in many ways, but I think even more so. I think I'm meant to work with people very intimately in small groups and touch the kind of wider collective in a different way.
Beautiful. I think I'm going to be one of those. I can feel it. Just putting that out there. That's going to be me in 5 years. Oh, you worked with Alexandra, and now that you're earning millions of pounds because you worked with her, and you're going to Maui just on a whim. Let's go to Maui, darling.
And so it is. It's already done.
Oh, you love this interview today. I've loved having you on. Any final messages for our listeners today?
I have loved this. This is the first thing I want to say to you. Like, genuinely love this. I feel like I just had like a catch up with the bestie in the morning. It's like it's 11 a.m. here and I'm feeling on fire now. So thank you for this. Final message is, I just looked at my phone cover actually and it said it on it. So maybe this is the message it's meant to be, but it says my success is inevitable. And just like really move with the energy that your success is inevitable. You'll take so much bolder moves. You will move beyond your limiting beliefs without having to do like constantly be working on them. And yeah, just like go at it. Like you know, life gets to be fun. Life gets to be a game. We get to go co-create what we want. So just move with that energy of my success is inevitable. It's happening already.
Love that. Thank you so much for being part of this today. And I'm so
glad
you
for having me.
Sign. Thanks, universe. Infinity to infinity with Alexandra. Thank you so much.
I keep getting the wrong wrist. It's because I'm trying to look in the screen. I'm like, which one is it?
One. I love it. Thank you so much. And I just want to ask you before you go, those of you watching this on YouTube will notice when you move, your camera moves with you. You've got some sort of like Dalek in your room. That's what it looks like.
It's actually an Austin assistance, just no joking.
Someone holding the camera, or there's like a Dalek in there, like some robot moving her camera for her. How swift. I love that.
So I got one of those big Apple Mac screens because I'm in my 30s and looking at a small laptop was hurting my eyes. But for some reason, when I like plug it in and I use that camera, it follows me around.
No, I saw that. I was like, oh.
But like, I'm just doing crazy things. It's probably a setting and I don't have to turn it off. So I'm just going to roll with it.
It's really good because it follows you everywhere. It's clever. Right, my darling, go and enjoy your time with your baby. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to send you all my subliminals and links and you're going to love it.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much it's been amazing.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Are you ready to start manifesting and raising your vibration all at your fingertips? Introducing the Sacred Souls mobile app. Imagine having all of the tools you could possibly need to manifest and raise your vibration like never before, all in the palm of your hand, wherever you are in the world. Now, this membership is for you, my darling listener, if you are a beginner to manifesting and you're not sure what to do or how to get the wheels in motion. Maybe you're an old-time manifestor and you've just got stuck in the mud. You feel completely blocked and you're struggling to move forward. You might be anxious and on the edge and you're really feeling like you want to start to take control of your energy and you're wanting to really move forward with your manifestations, but you're a little bit overwhelmed trying to juggle life and you want to find a space to start looking after you. If you've been on a spiritual journey for a while, then you will be ready to take things up a notch. There is something for everybody here. So are you ready for more? More money, more abundance, more love, more everything, and most importantly, more community. This is not just any app where you're going to be downloading things or watching videos and listening to audios. Yes, it's got all of that and beautiful workbooks within it, but you get to be part of a community and live calls and masterclasses as well. So are you ready to start creating the life of your dreams? Because I am ready to do that with you. Click the link in the show notes and join me today in my sacred community and start your manifesting journey within the Sacred Souls membership. I can't wait to see you there. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm sending you a huge virtual squishy hug, and I hope today's episode has helped giving you some inspiration, energy, and a light bulb moment. So do share your light bulbs or any takeaways you've had on your socials and tag me in, as I absolutely love to hear from you. So if you love to share, you are going to love my giveaway. Every month I'm running a new competition to win a large moon box packed full of crystals, candles, affirmation cards, incense, my Love Yourself to the Moon and Back journal, and a real surprise of spiritual treats that change every month. So listen up if you want to win and get your hands on this, because all you have to do is, number 1, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Number 2, tag me on your socials with either a post, video or story of your top takeaway of that specific episode. Be sure to tag me in as @RebeccaWellstead-Green so that I see it, and you'll be entered into my free prize draw. So from my heart to yours, lots of love to the moon and back. Have a fabulous week, beautiful, and I can't wait to spend time with you again next week. Mwah.